Hello and welcome back to the Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Ameer Hamid. Joining me today, making his triumphant return, is Brant.
Hello.
What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. It's been a
Jeez.
while.
I know. It's been like
way
a month.
too long.
And I mean, we have good reason, too, because I am one of the most superstitious people out there.
Yeah.
And when things are going good, I don't want to mess with anything.
No.
I will not clean my room. I will shave on like a certain time, because something big happened.
Yeah.
Something really big.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard.
The U.S. national team, women's team, won like 14-0.
It was incredible. Yeah, that's the biggest story in the past couple months.
Yeah, I have no idea what else happened. Just that the Toronto Raptors won the NBA Finals. Everyone can suck my dick now. Like, no one can ever tell me anything.
I still can't believe it. It's fucking nuts.
It's unreal. Last night I rewatched the game, like the entire game. I have it recorded from TSN and I have it recorded from ABC and ESPN.
Yeah.
So I was watching both feeds. Well, I've seen like the highlight clips of both, but I was rewatching it on the ABC feed.
Yeah.
And it was just as good as the first time. And like not only was I rewatching it, it was like 4 a.m, and then my dad comes downstairs and he's like, I can't sleep. He just sees me watching this, and I'm like, hey, do you want to watch? I heard it's a good game.
Honestly, dude, like I don't even remember most of the game. Like I went to a restaurant to watch it, and the atmosphere there was so nuts that like half the time I didn't even know what the score was. It just felt like we were doing well the entire time.
Yeah, I went out for game 4.
Yeah,
and that was literally a time. Like, it was so close. In game 4, it was so close in the first half, and then the second half, like we just dominated them, and it was the greatest time ever.
Yeah, and
like I was screaming, and it was one of my friends. It was her going away party because she was moving to BC.
Oh, okay,
shout out to Ren. So everyone there is there to like celebrate her. Meanwhile, I'm just going berserk with a bunch of other random people. And like after the game, on the way out, there's this one guy that just comes up to me. He's like, "Man, I love your passion. Keep up the good work and stuff." I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
It was a good time.
What a run!
Right,
just in general, like from start to finish,
insane. Like just thinking about it, I've never been more stressful for like any time in my life.
Yeah,
and it was like 2 weeks of just constant, 2 months of just constant. Like, all right, we have a game every other day.
Yeah,
and
I'm having a heart attack every other day.
And like the worst part was the days in between where I'm like, all right, I'm just waiting for the game to happen. And like the worst days was when you were down. Like the games against Milwaukee, I was just dreading it. Like after you were down 2-0 and you're like, wow, you could have won game 1. Oh my God, what's going to happen in game 2? And then you get blown out. And like it was the worst time. Yeah. But it was also, I don't know. There was some times where I was just like, can we just run it back and let's go play like now?
It was fucked. I forget what series it was that I texted you. I'm like, I fucking hate playoff basketball. It's the most stressful shit. Like, you can watch regular season basketball all you want, no problem. All right, yeah, we lost.
It's a total different game.
Oh my God, you're stressed the entire time.
Like the difference with hockey is like goals they happen like you're lucky to see like 2 goals a period.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And then with the NBA, like you live and die with every basket because you're like, okay, he can't make those shots. Like if he's making those shots, then we're gonna lose. You know that type of thing.
Everything matters. Everything matters.
Yeah,
it's brutal. It's just it's hard to watch.
And it's like we'll talk about it later, but like I think basketball's it's overtaken as like the greatest sport I think to watch because like from a fan perspective and also just like a league and like the players wise, I think it's just the best thing to watch. Yeah, and to grasp onto. Yeah. So we're gonna to start it off. Well, let's just go through the entire playoff run. Well,
I don't think we need to do the
first
Magic
round
series.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's touch on it.
To be fair, I thought there was a chance they lose that at first because they lose game 1. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then everyone's like, oh, same old Raptors, and you're like, yeah, but like also no, because like we just shit the bed, and Kyle Lowry scored 0 points, and bum ass DJ Augustine scored 34 or 31, I want to say, and hit a game winning 3. I'm like, this is an anomaly. Like, let's. That was the one time where I was like, can we just play? And then you rattle off four straight wins.
Yeah. Put that to bed real quick. I'm like, all right, that's good. Like, that's something the Raptors haven't done in the past. Is like they'll lose game 1, and then they keep looking like shit throughout the series. They don't.
But the thing is, like, that the Raptors have never. Well, it was the first time that they won a series in less than 5 games, because they've only won series in 6 or 7 games. Yeah. So that was a big deal.
Yeah.
But like in every round, I felt like we played the toughest teams.
Yeah.
Like, Philly was tougher than Boston, than Milwaukee had to face.
Yeah.
Golden State had to face Houston in the second round, but the thing is, like, Houston literally, I think they're just scared of Golden State. Like, it's a real, LeBron versus Toronto.
Yeah.
Like the I think it's the exact same parallel.
Yeah.
To where Kevin Durant gets hurt and Houston still can't even.
Not even close.
Exactly. Yeah. And then Milwaukee against Portland, like that you can't even compare it. If Portland somehow had beaten Golden State and gone to the finals, the Raptors sweep or win in 5, like, without a doubt.
Portland didn't even make that series close.
No, well, the weird thing is, like, the weird thing was that Portland was in every game, but that, like, once it was in the third and fourth quarter, Golden State was like, all right, see ya.
There was, and then, I want to say it was game 2 or 3 where Portland was up like almost 20 or something
17
like that.
or something. Yeah.
I stopped watching for a bit. I come back and Golden State's up like 7. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's like a 40-point swing. You're just like,
I'm like, oh, how? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Golden State,
KD,
man.
no problem. Yeah. But so the Magic series, like, it was the toughest first round matchup, and then on top of it, they were a really hot team going into the playoffs, and they got over that, and they I see Kawhi and Kyle, they did a interview after they won the finals with Rachel Nichols, and Kawhi was like, we lose game 1 against Orlando. I can't even remember who hit the game winner, because like he's like, they're bums and stuff. Like, what? And he's like, oh yeah, DJ Augustine. Yeah. It's like, So in a way, it's like, wow, are we not as good as we were? And it's like, no, we just watched 82 games of the Raptors killing it, but yet one game can change everything. Yeah. And then
just put that doubt in your head, right? Because like as Raptors fans, all you've seen for the last 6 years is like, we haven't really got it done in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to what Masai said when he introduced Danny and Kawhi.
Yeah.
It's like, believe in yourself, believe in this city. And he's like, we're going to win here. Like, why is everything doom and gloom? I was like, man.
To be fair, it's a relatively similar cast than what's been in the last few years. The only difference was Kawhi.
I don't know. Like, you look at this team, and who's actually been on this team that had an actual role in the previous championships? It's Kyle.
Pascal.
Like, but Pascal was like a role player, if that. Yeah. And Serge, he was in his.
You didn't have that Serge and what do you call it, Gasol rotation.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was huge.
It was huge, and like, you just had a bunch of veteran guys, and even though you have that memory of like the Raptors past, there's still so much that you're like, we can't just call this the same old Raptors, even though then that narrative was still like, people kind of believe that even throughout the playoffs. Yep. So like when Philly comes and then we blow them out in game 1, an absolute blowout. I think we win by like 20 points. And then you lose game 2, except you had a Danny Green 3 that could have tied it, but you lose that game and you're like, okay, damn, it's going to be tough. And then game 3, you go to Philly and you get absolutely blown out.
Shit stomped.
Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, it's over. Yeah. The Raptors are going to lose. And then you had that game 4 where Kawhi literally just shits on the Sixers. And he takes that shot against Embiid at the end of the game where he hits this fading away 3. Embiid's in his face and he hits that shot. And that shot was to put the Raptors up 3. And it's as big of a shot, like, I think, as the bounce shot, even though it obviously won't get the praise. No. Without that shot, though,
you don't get
the Raptors aren't in the series, because you're not going to you got blown out in Game 6 also.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the game you needed, and he hit the shot when it mattered.
Yeah.
It was insane. Game 5, I think it was another blowout in Toronto where we go up 3-2, and then you get blown out in Game 6 again, and then Game 7 happens, and it was like that game was what a game that was, because literally no one on the Raptors wanted to shoot except for Kawhi and Serge. And Serge was taking those shots where you're like, no. Like, that's a bad shot. And then it goes in, you're just like, I still hate it, but
okay,
what the fuck just happened? Like,
yeah.
And he hit like 2 pull-up threes.
Yeah.
All right, chill out.
Google wants to hang out here.
We could take this out.
Fixed it.
But look, we go into Game 7, and no one wants to do anything.
No.
Except the worst part is that no one remembers now is the Raptors blew the end of the game in Game 7.
Man, I missed the whole game. I was in Florida, and like I didn't have it anywhere. And I'm like, all of a sudden, I hear Kawhi hits this buzzer beater. I'm like, oh, sick. Yeah. Didn't think anything of it. And like, we pulled it up like half an hour, 45 minutes later. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like I missed a huge moment by being down there. But
I was on like a call with a couple of my cousins while it happened. And like, so he goes into the corner and he's drifting. Well, let me, the Raptors blew, like, they had a substantial lead. It was like 5 or 6, and you could hang on to that. And then Kawhi misses the free throw. Then Jimmy Butler comes down and gets a layup to tie it, right?
Okay.
And then the shot happens, and you see him drifting in the corner, and I'm like, I slide off of my couch, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, what are we doing? Like, this is such a shit shot. And then you just see it start bouncing, and you're like, oh my God, this is unreal. Yeah. It was so astounding that like I laying down at the ground at this point, and I'm just like shaking myself, like my chest is like bouncing off of the ground, and like like I gave myself like a heart attack. It was nuts. It was literally insane, and I was like, man, if that's the moment that we have like with Kawhi, then everything's okay.
Yeah.
Like, how are you gonna leave now? You know, you took us to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Look at this video you just produced here, man. Like, watch that back and tell me you don't want to be a part of this.
Did I lose you, buddy? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, a little bit. We're good.
Yeah. All right. But no, you're absolutely right. Like, and it sucks because at every point this year, I was like, man, he can't leave now. And the media was doing this too. He can't leave now. Like, he's built so much that you're like, you can't. You hit this shot, you get them to the Eastern Conference Finals, you get them to the NBA Finals, you win the Finals. You can't leave now. Like what, at every point.
What do you leave to do at this point?
I mean, he could leave and be like,
do you want to do the same thing again?
Basically, where it's like he's the John Wick or some shit, where he just goes and win. He takes a relevant Clippers franchise and wins a title there, which I'm like,
yeah, sure,
cool, fine.
I don't care. You leave. We got the trophy now. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, with that Sixers win, I was like, man, if it goes into overtime and no one except for Kawhi is taking shots, I don't know if we win that game, just because I hate Jimmy Butler. JJ Redick will literally kill you. And Embiid, who the hell knows?
But you've seen Kawhi go on those runs where he just carries you for like 4 minutes of the game. And it's just
that
like
was
Kawhi.
Game 5 in the finals.
Yeah. Just decided, you know what? Let's go. Took off. He had, what was it, 5 straight possessions where he scored? I think it was near the end of that Game 5. And just puts the team on his back, and it's like, no problem.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So you go on to Milwaukee, and you're like, all right, this series, you got to get one of the first two, and because you don't have home court advantage. And the thing is, the Raptors were 1-2 against them in the season, and you're like, all right, well, if the Raptors had played every game, like played hard every game, they were in every game except by I think one. And they could have had it. If the Raptors didn't have the load management with Kawhi, then they would have had the best record. And like, did it suck a little? Sure, but like, you've obviously seen the results that load management has. So that game one, Kyle Lowry comes out blazing. He is on fire. It was basically last game 6, the closeout game against Golden State. He was doing that except against Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, you can't waste this Kyle Lowry performance because, hey, he's hot and cold. That's just the player he is. But those are the games where you're like, you have to win this. And then they end up blowing it at the end and can't score in the fourth quarter to where I think only Kyle Lowry hit a field goal in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
Kawhi didn't. No other player did, which is insane to think.
Yeah.
So you lose that one, and then game 2 you get absolutely blown out.
Yeah.
And then game 3.
At the end of game 2, I was worried.
Yeah.
Like I'm like this does not look good.
Yeah. So I was partially there where I was like, yeah, it didn't look good, but I was like, I just want to play game 3.
Yeah.
Like, because, well, Milwaukee hasn't won a game yet.
Yeah.
In Toronto, like,
no.
Yes, Milwaukee could hold serve, but Milwaukee did what they were supposed to do, and they won their first 2 games. So let's just play 3 and 4, and then game 3 happens, and it's back and forth, and then it goes into double OT. Kyle Lowry fouls out, and then Norm was hot, and then he fouls out in the fourth also. You're like, oh my God, what the hell are we gonna do? And that was the game where everyone was like, yo, why is Fred VanVleet out there? He's literally doing nothing. He's not scoring. Everyone's calling?
He was horrible.
Everyone was calling for his head.
Yeah,
and the Raptors somehow pull out that game. Kawhi goes off for those and one dunks, which are nuts. So they pull out that game in double overtime. A game where, look, if the Bucks win that game, the series is over 100%. Because you just don't blow a 3-0 lead.
No.
And it was a game that it probably haunts Bucks fans just as much as Game 7 in Toronto, like that buzzer beater haunts Philly fans, because they could be wondering, well, if these 2 things go our way, are we champions right now? And they have a case to do that, considering what we saw from Golden State and the fact that of the 4 best teams in the playoffs, the 3 of them were in the East. It was the 4 best teams: Golden State, Toronto, Milwaukee, Philly, and then Houston.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, if you're those 2 teams, you're definitely having second thoughts of like what could have been.
Couple make shots here or there, and you might be the NBA champion right now.
Yeah. Which I thought we would be in that scenario, which, because like it'd be the most Raptors thing where it's like, oh my God, we blew this golden chance.
Yep.
So then game 4 happens. Shit, I can't remember if that one was a blowout. Let me look this one up. I'm pretty sure it was. It was a comfortable game. I'll say that. Milwaukee. I'm doing pretty good at remembering most of the stuff that's happened.
All I know is they look dominant for the next 4 games.
Yeah, so they won 120 to 102, so 18-point lead.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then everyone now is like, oh, it's a series. But after it was 2-0 Milwaukee, I have this image left in my mind of like Stephen A. Smith and Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter being like, yo, this series is a wrap. The Raptors are done, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool. And then after it was 2-1 when the Raptors won in double OT, and like, look, all credit to the Bucks because the Raptors didn't look good in that game either.
No.
So I can't really hate it, but like Colin Cowherd, I hate this guy much.
I used to like him.
He was like
useless now.
Yeah, so did I. And now it's just like, I don't know. Ever since he got to Fox, I feel like he's
been trash.
He's been like more brazy, I guess. Like he'll just, his filter is like gone now. Like he's cool. He's taken like the Skip Bayless stuff to another level where it's like, oh, let me have this like super
ridiculous take.
Exactly. And he was like, oh, this Raptors team, if the Raptors would need like an injury on the Bucks to even get to the finals, and then they would get swept by Golden State. And I was like, and he's like, even without Kevin Durant and DeMarcus Cousins, I was like, all right, buddy. Yeah. And then that game 5 against Milwaukee was that was an incredible game.
Yeah.
Because it was back and forth, and then Fred VanVleet was literally on fuego. Yeah. I think that was the game where he had 21 points off the bench, and he played 37 minutes. He played the second most. He played the third most minutes on the. He was literally, and that was the game after
Fred Jr.
He had exactly. So ESPN, I saw put out a tweet today where it's like, oh, congrats to Fred VanVleet, NBA champion, and first Father's Day. I was like, bro, he has a daughter. He's like, and I think they deleted the tweet, but I was like, oh my god,
that's hilarious.
Who's getting fired now? And the worst part was they had like an actual graphic to where someone made.
Oh no! Somebody spent time on this.
Yes.
Oh.
And it was like tooth lost and like points and like all this stuff. And I was like, Jesus. Oh my god. The premise of the tweet is wrong. Yeah. So that was funny. And then so you win game 5 in a ridiculous road game where it all leads up to game 6 where it was as much of a must-win game as could be.
Yeah.
And the Raptors were down. And I was like, man, I would go into another room because they were down like, so going into the fourth, trying to do math here, 50, it was 76 to, I don't know. Yo, math is hard.
It's been a while since we've had to do work.
46. It's 46 plus 25. I don't know. It was close.
Yeah. That's a long time to be like, fuck it. Close game.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
No, but it was like they would get ridiculous threes. I was remembering Milwaukee, and I was just like, oh, Chris Middleton had that 1-3 where Lowry hits the ball out with 3 seconds left.
Yeah.
And then Middleton was in the corner, and he literally turns around and hits a 3-point shot. And was just like, are you kidding me? It was just shots that you're like, okay, you're not winning this game if they're hitting this. And then Giannis hits two threes, and you're like, I'll live with it. But like, if he's hitting threes, this game's a wrap. And then somehow the Raps come back. Kawhi has that dunk over Giannis, which was my screen background for a while.
Yeah. Best moment until the next one.
Yeah, until the next one. It's unreal how many playoff moments that this provided.
Yeah.
Like the two playoff moments that I can remember in my childhood was and we were adults by this time. It was the bat flip and then the bat drop.
Yeah.
Those were, except even the bat drop that Eddie hit, I'm like,
it wasn't
all he just needed a sack fly. Yeah. It was one out and the bases were loaded.
He just outdid it.
Let's be real.
Fuck it. Hammer it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't even all that.
No.
But we hadn't experienced anything.
No.
And then to even see them hoisting the Eastern Conference Finals trophy, I remember the next day I went to my parents. I'm like, "Okay, go to McDonald's, get the paper from the Star because I'm not paying for the paper."
No.
So then I have a copy right behind me of Kawhi of that shot, and then the fact that we were thinking that look, we'd never been to this point ever. I want to remember this moment.
Yeah.
It's insane to think that we would be celebrating just even a trip to the finals.
Yeah,
which sucks,
that was huge.
But
at the time, it was huge. Holy shit!
It's still massive. I still can't believe it.
Yeah, I still can't believe that. Let alone this.
Yeah, right. After running into LeBron for fucking the past 3 or 4 years, and
man, the conversation we've had all year was this is great. We brought in Kawhi. We might be a finals contender now. We might make it there.
Yeah, we might.
We might make it there.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
and then you did.
And
I remember talking to you about this last year. It's just texting you. I was like, man, the Raps aren't going to make it to the final. Because when Golden State gets Boogie, we were like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I'm like, give him another ring.
Yeah. It's like, man. And I remember having this conversation with you, and this was pre-Kevin Durant injury, and I was like, man, the Warriors are just going to win the title. Can we just, like, if the Raptors get bounced in the second round, I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
As long as, like, you could just give me the Leafs in the second round, because I'm like, okay, if the Leafs are in the second round, I know that they could legitimately win a cup. That's my point. Like, because I was
they have that same run Boston did. They end up in the same spot.
That's what I mean. Like, and it was impossible to say that the Raptors could have beaten Golden State at full strength.
Yeah.
Because, like, when I see that Game 5, I was like, I don't know. Kevin Durant was unreal.
Yeah. Dude, oh, my. I don't even want to say it,
we'll talk about it. All right, so we're on Milwaukee still. Like, in transitioning to the finals, but, like, the fact that we had, like, a Golden State-Toronto matchup, that was so unreal.
Yeah.
Like,
it's surreal just to be there.
Not even the story, like having media day and having all these like channels come to and seeing all these interviews with Raptors. I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like Guillermo from Jimmy Kimmel Show is interviewing guys right now and taking shots of maple syrup. I'm like, what is going on? This is incredible.
You have the biggest names in like sports media here, like just showing up and doing stuff here, and I'm like, this is nuts.
Yep,
it's crazy.
And then all of it leads up to Game 1 happening, and it's not back and forth necessarily. Like the Raps had not a grip on it, but like you felt pretty comfortable because the Raps were making some shots where it's like, all right, when Fred makes that ridiculous fall away jump shot and it rims around and goes in, you're like, all right, we're winning this game.
There were so many times in this series where it's just like I feel like the Raps were just destined to win this.
That's what I mean. Like, if you watch that Game 1 and the shots that Pascal was making, he made like 3 shots. He threw like a hook shot, like a sky hook off the backboard and dropped it. I'm like, what is going on?
That was the Pascal game, right? Game 1?
Yeah. And then he hit that one where he was going for an offensive rebound. He just tips it straight in. I'm like, what is going on? How is this possible?
It was one of those games for me, though, where it was just like, you know what? Pascal's not going to do that the rest of the series. And I feel like the team played really good. And I'm like, this might be our ceiling. And I'm like, Golden State sucked. Like, Clay couldn't shoot worse shit. Steph was okay.
Steph scored 34, but it was all like free throw shots. You know what I mean?
He was like 16 for 16 or something like that, was he not?
DeMarcus Cousins looked god awful,
horrible. You still had no KD, and it was just like, okay, well, like I feel like we might have just stole one, but we'll see.
Yeah, the thing was, okay, if you look at Golden State's leaders in scoring, it went 34 for Steph, 21 for Clay, and then it dropped down to 10 with Draymond Green. Yeah. And it's like,
Draymond wasn't great either. He had a triple-double, but it was like, meh.
Yeah, it was 10, 10, and 10.
Yeah. Like you barely had a triple-double.
It was close to what Charles Barkley clowns Ben Simmons for having is a triple single, which is where everything's just in single digits. But like, and the thing is, in Game 1, like Marc Gasol actually had a good game. He had 20 points. Kawhi had 23, but it wasn't like Kawhi had some of the quietest like 30-point games I've ever seen.
Dude. Every time you'd be in the fourth, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's got 28. I'm like, he's got what?
I'm like
I haven't seen him hit shots. How?
Yeah, he'll get like 6 every quarter, but like you're just like, oh, Kawhi just comes down and hits a mid-range shot on you, like it's not, and it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But Fred VanVleet had 15 off the bench, and then Danny hit a couple threes in Game 1. He had that one three
that was huge.
In Game 1 where
Danny Green showing up was huge.
It was like he had an open shot, he pump fakes, and then contested in his face with Klay Thompson. He shoots the contested one right before halftime. I remember, and he makes it. I'm like, okay, this is
finals Danny Green. That was I'm like, wow, okay,
exactly. Well, I mean, he's 50% from 3 in the finals, which is nuts. And then Game 2 happens, and you're
like,
just like,
Golden State, right? It was one of those things I said before the game. Like, if Klay Thompson shows up, they win this game, and Klay Thompson showed up.
Clay was the best Warrior in the series, and it was without a doubt.
Steph had some games.
He scored 25. Yeah, he scored 25, and he got hurt in the game.
Yeah.
Or how many?
He missed the whole fourth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He scored 25 and he missed the fourth. Draymond had a good game that game, 17, 10, and 9. Like, Draymond and Kyle Lowry are basically the same player, except Draymond's better defensively because of his height and stuff. But, like, they're not players that you rely on for points. Like, their points are gravy. It's the intangibles that they bring. Like, they steal you possessions and stuff with charges, steals, like, just their physical presence out there. It's and they're, like, their mantra and how they carry themselves. Like, it's totally different compared to, you know, they make those hustle plays that they're winning plays. So game 2, it was a gut punch because you're like, we had a chance in that game. Was it the Danny had a I can't remember how that game ended.
It was
but it was close. Oh, the Iguodala 3.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Travel on Steph too.
When we introduced the box in one.
Yes.
Where Nick Nurse was like, "Oh, let me take it back to middle school on your asses." It was funny. I think I was listening to Jackie McMullen on one of Brian Windhorse's podcasts, and it was like, the Raptors ran a grade 7 defense, and then you stopped running it in grade 8 because everyone figured out how to play against the box in one. And it's just like, well, this guy out of nowhere in the finals is just like, let me play it on Steph, because it's like, well, if I play this defensive coverage, then the one player that you have will not be able to go off.
No.
And it literally worked to a T. And Steph was like, oh, that's disrespectful to leave Andre Iguodala open with this janky defense. I'm like, well, the janky defense almost beat you. Sorry. No. Yeah. Except in game 6.
But I take that chance. I'm like, do I want to see Steph?
You're like, is this destiny?
I'd rather see Iggy take an open shot than have Steph hit one-on-one coverage and just like, no problem, thanks.
Yep. And then in the game 2, you had Andrew Bogut come off in the third quarter and make like 3 buckets, and you're like, and they're just alley-ooping it to him, and we can't stop it. And you're like, how is this happening? To where he's making these, and then you had
it's just like they were meant to win, and it's like they were hitting their shots.
Yeah. But then it came to a point where you're like, man, I don't know.
Yeah,
if we can win. And then game 3, Klay doesn't play because of the injury.
Klay doesn't play. Looney doesn't play. Still no KD, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yep.
That was the biggest must-win game of the series, and they won it handedly.
Yep. Absolutely. Like, it was the game where if you don't win this, the series is over, because Golden State's conceding this game to you, basically.
Essentially. And
the Warriors, they had a chance, but they didn't have a chance. No. I was listening to Kendrick Perkins. He was great for ESPN. And he was like, Steph had the most meaningless 47 points I've ever seen. Yeah. Because they would get it, they'd cut it to 8 points, and then the Raptors would just respond and bring it back to 15 or 16.
The Raps were just so consistent. That was the one thing in the whole series. They were just consistently like, you know what, they'd go on a stretch where they were, except that one, it was the third quarter in game 2.
Yeah, and then game 5-ish, like, they were after the Durant injury, they were shell-shocked.
Yeah. I think it shook.
It shook Toronto more than it shook Golden State, which is nuts.
Yeah, it's weird.
But in game 3, Danny goes off for the 18 points, where he was absolutely huge. Yeah. Fred hits that 3 where Draymond clearly fouls him when it was the dagger, but like he gets fouled where Kawhi probably got away with a travel. Yeah. But Kawhi the quietest 30 points. Pascal still scored 18. Yeah. Kyle scored 23. Like, it was a great all-around game. Yeah. But you still didn't feel comfortable because
they did it without Klay. State,
exactly.
And Looney, who was pretty good up until that point.
Yeah. Yep. Then game 4 happens, which was the game of the series, because it's like, look, Golden State is back up against it. They're playing Klay because they were like, okay, we'll go back to Toronto 2-2. Yeah. And then Toronto was like, nope, you're going back 3-1 us. Let's go. And that was the Kawhi and Serge game where Serge was so good.
Incredible off the bench.
He had those, and then in games 3 he had those 6 blocks. Yeah. And then this game he had 20 points off the bench.
He had 9 boards too, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just huge.
In this game he didn't. He only had 4 boards, but it was just timely stuff to where I'll bring up Kendrick Perkins again because he was so great. He was like, when Serge was going off on these games, we call him the wild African from Congo. Like, Serge was the last 3 games of the series. Serge played his best basketball I've ever seen him play.
Yeah,
because he would go into the post deep, and his passing out of the post was awesome. Like, I remember him hitting Kawhi for an and one, him throwing it out to Fred for 3. Like, he did that multiple times, and he was huge. And without his efforts, the Raptors aren't winning the series.
Honestly, you could say that about pretty much anyone on the roster.
Yeah, it's like if one of these guys didn't do what they did in a game, and it had to go on someone else, or even if they just miss shots, you don't win.
You don't win it.
Yeah, which was great. And then Danny Green regressed and went back to only hitting 1 3, but you still had the efforts from everyone.
But it didn't matter because you had Fred step up. You had Norm had a big game every now and then, or had big moments in games.
Yeah, it felt like someone from the Raptors off the bench, like one of the 3 guys, would give you starter stuff. Yeah. Also to go with it. Yeah. Because so basically the Raptors would always have 3 of the 5 starters give them something. This game, for example, it was Kawhi, Pascal at 19, Kawhi at 36, and then Kyle was just doing Kyle type of stuff. Yeah. But he was facilitating the offense. Yeah. And then Serge had the 20 points off the bench. Like it was the unexpected but the expected contributions to where they won that game. Yeah. Game 5 was what a weird fucking game. Yeah. Because
it's painful though, man. Like watching all that happen.
Yeah. Like, all right. So in the warm-ups, I was texting Kelly all that day, and I was like, man, I'm fucking nervous. Yeah. Because Kevin Durant's going to play. I'm like, she's like, yo, he's not going to play. I'm like, I'm telling you, Kevin Durant shouldn't have played.
Hindsight's 20/20, but I said then he shouldn't play.
No, I agree. But I was also like, from the standpoint was, look, your boys are back up against the wall. Yeah. And if you can contribute in any way, I would try. Sure. Now, the problem that I thought he was just going to stand in a corner and just hit jump shots.
Yeah,
and stuff.
But he didn't.
No, and the scary point was when Steve Kerr was like, "Oh, there's no minutes restriction on Kevin Durant." I was like, "Huh?" And then when he plays 12 of the first 14 minutes of the game, I'm like, and then he gets hurt. I'm like,
that was crazy because all I heard coming into it was that he doesn't look like him. He doesn't look healthy, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, there's no minutes restrictions. I'm like, are you nuts?
It's like, what? So apparently, like, so Jalen Rose was saying, he's like, I'm telling you, he had a workout and it didn't go well. Yeah. And that's why he didn't play in game 4. And then so going to game 5 after, he's like, I told you it didn't go well. But apparently he was in the gyms at Ryerson and he was shooting there. I was like, yo, we let Kevin Durant shoot in our gyms? What are we doing here?
Don't let that man get healthy.
Yeah, Jesus. Come on. But it was like, I understood how he wanted to play and that he's a grown man. He can make decisions. But all right, so now I can finally vent on this. Like, the Warriors did him dirty, not from the aspect of everything you've seen in the media, right? They did him dirty because they said, "Oh, Kevin Durant could come back against Houston." Oh, nope.
The entire time they're like, "Yeah, he might be able to come back."
Exactly. At every single turn. Yeah, you could come back.
They were strong arming him into coming back.
That's my point. Time. Like with Boogie, when Boogie got hurt, everyone was like, all right, Boogie's out for the season. Yeah. Yeah. And then once he was close to coming back and doing stuff on the court and stuff, they're like, oh, now he can. Exactly. Yeah. Like, and he was cleared medically. So that's why they said that. Yeah. Meanwhile, KD hadn't even been fucking cleared. No. But they were like, oh, there's a chance. Yeah, he's coming back soon. He's doing some stuff. And the medical staff never cleared him and stuff. And that's why I'm like, that definitely influenced them. If you're saying it behind the scenes,
all you hear is your team going, "Yeah, he could come back." Oh well, maybe not now. He's not ready. It's just like, well, that hurts, man. Like you're like, fuck, I should be out there. Like they're expecting me to be out there, and I can't. Yeah. I can't do it.
So then it's looking bad on me that the fact that I'm not ready. Yeah. Meanwhile, then you have the players in the that report where it was like, players in the locker room are wondering like, oh, they all thought that he was going to play in game 4. and he didn't play.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, that doesn't help. That
no, your whole team's thinking bad of you.
Exactly. Yeah. And then Draymond comes in, I think Game 5 in Toronto with a Sources T-shirt or sweater, where it's like Sources. Yeah, I'm like, bro, it's one guy in the locker room. I was like trying to think who the hell it would be. And I don't really know.
Yeah, that locker room.
Like Iggy's too nice to do it.
Yeah, there's been issues in that locker room all year long though.
Well, that was the thing, because Draymond was like, "Oh, we don't need you. We've won before you, and we'll win without you." Psych! Yeah. You didn't.
No. Apparently, you need him.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player.
Yeah. But yeah, you see him go down, and then like it hurt.
Yeah. So, all right. So he goes down, and I'm in my living room. I'm watching with my parents. We're in our same seats. We've been in. So, I never told this until now, but so in our basement we have this giant TV.
Yeah.
OLED, the nicest, the cat's ass of TV.
Yeah.
Right? Game 5 against Philadelphia, my parents went upstairs and they watched the TV on like this smaller, a lot smaller TV in our living room. Yeah. And we've literally been we sat there ever since.
They fucked it up.
And watched the games from there. So then we just started watching the games from that
on the little TV?
Yeah. Because they were winning, and we're like, all right, fuck it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I think in Game 7 is when I caved in and sat up there with the Game 7 against Philly.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. What were we talking? All right, so the KD injury. Yeah. Like, so that happens, and in my living room, I was like, yo, and then I turned to my dad. I'm like, yo.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, there was a lot of negativity towards the people that were cheering after he got hurt. Yeah. But don't tell me.
Wouldn't that be your natural reaction?
Dude, like, I was sitting in my living room like, oh, shit. And then I'm like, wait, no, he might actually be hurt.
That's my thing. Like, if you're a fan that you pay that much money to go to the game, you're willing to do anything to win.
Your energy's way up here. Like, you're going to, if that happens and you see KD go down, you're like, holy fuck, we could win this.
Like, the difference between this and the Mark Stevens incident, which we didn't talk about, was the fact that Mark Stevens went out of his way to affect a player. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Affect or effect? Affect. Hey, definitely A.
I think it's effect.
Definitely. No, definitely A.
Okay. We'll run with it. I'm pretty sure it's effect because he affected him.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay.
So, either way, like, he went out his way to impact the play.
Yeah.
This was just a reaction, which was like, the worst part is, like, I will always have that image of KD, like, he had that this like blank face.
Yeah.
No, this face.
Oh,
he was like, it was just like genuine worry where he's like,
dude, he straight up just let go of the ball. Like, you knew he was just like, I'm done.
It's not even. It was him on the ground where he's just like looking towards the bench with like the like, it was like, it wasn't puppy dog eyes, but it was like, so as it happened, I was like, yo, this is awesome because the Raps were going to blow a 3-1 lead, and I was not here for the jokes.
No.
After Golden State, knowing, like, and it would be the most Raptors thing to blow a 3-1, get to the finals. Oh yeah, Kawhi's on the Raptors and all this stuff, and it's not a different Raptors team. Nope, you blow a 3-1 lead,
same
and your memes
new team,
forever.
Same outcome. Yep.
Yeah. And then Golden State never gets made fun of for blowing a 3-1 lead.
No.
And it's only the Raptors.
Yeah.
And I like, so my brother was in my ass like about, Durant's going to come back and he's going to score 60 points on the Raptors and then they're going to blow a 3-1 lead. Like, just egging me on and stuff. I'm like, shut the fuck up. No, he's not.
He was close.
I mean, he scored 12 or 11 in the first and you're just like, this guy's unstoppable. But like, the injury happens. I'm like, the Warriors could have prevented this from being like, Kevin, all you're going to do is stand up and take corner threes.
Don't be KD. Just be good.
Why are you driving to the basket? Yeah. And like, so my dad was posing the theory to me today that, Serge loosened up the Achilles when he went up and he fouled KD hard. I was like, that's not really how it works. No. But, I mean, I did like seeing him like, look, if a guy's hurt.
If you're going to play, you got to play.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, it sucks because I genuinely like KD as a person.
Yeah.
Because he shows you like the whole Twitter, like the burner accounts, like that just showed that he cares. Like he cares about what people think about him. And I think that's genuine.
That's a human being thing, man. Like it
yeah, exactly. That's my point. Like people care.
Yep.
And then, so now the narrative is, oh, I don't want anyone to say like KD doesn't care about basketball anymore because look what he just did. He put his ass on the line. And it's like, what? Obviously, he put his ass on. Like, obviously, he cares about the game because look at all the effort he put in to get to this. Like 30 years into his life. Like, look where he's at this point.
Yeah.
But the narrative is, oh, just because I don't have this moment to where everyone can see it, that I'm not as great of a player. Like, I don't have that heart.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's phony. Like, the dude is an all-time great and probably the greatest scorer ever, where he's the 7-foot assassin where he's just shooting and you can't stop this little lanky guy. So that the injury happens and you see like everyone shaken up by it. And you see Steph run back and he's crying and stuff. Like, it just sucked. And then the fans cheering and stuff. Well, the fans cheering on his injury was weird because it was a turnover and then Serge goes up and gets fouled.
Like, it was a time to cheer because, like, if you weren't actually paying attention to KD, it was like, oh, shit, we got the ball.
And then, so what I think happens, like just thinking about it now, is that they're cheering on, the initial cheer is on the play, and then they see KD on because then your focus is on upwards on the play. Your focus isn't on KD because the play is going on.
Yeah.
And then you turn back and you see KD on the ground, and you're like, oh shit, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so and then they don't realize, like,
he's done.
oh, he's. Exact. That's what I mean. So that could have absolutely been a point. It could have also been like a couple assholes just being like, "Ha, fuck you, KD." Like, and then everyone realizes and cheers him on the way out. Chants KD. Yeah. And it was the thing that was growing like throughout the game because in the warm-ups they were cheering his misses and then booing and booing his makes, and it was like a natural like jeering from fans, which was cool, but. It was something that was growing throughout the game because KD in that series, like, he was this mythical like unicorn where it was like, oh, he's gonna come back.
You heard
he's
all
gonna come
about
back,
him
and then
the
this series
time.
is gonna change. And then when he finally did come back, you're like, no, I don't want good things to happen to you.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least no one's gonna call Kevin Durant a cupcake anymore.
No.
Like.
No.
Like.
He played through it. Good for him.
So then going back to the game.
Yeah.
The injury happens and the Raptors just start shitting the bed and Golden State goes up and
it lit a fire under them and they just dominated.
Yeah, and then the Raptors, they never recover really until the fourth to where Kawhi goes on that run, then puts them up 6, I want to say.
It was 6, yeah.
And then with 3 minutes left and you're like,
oh shit.
All right, cool. We can win the finals if we win this game. And it just felt like such a shitty situation to win the finals because if the Raptors win, it's not the story.
No.
The story is
KD.
Kevin Durant getting injured.
Yeah.
And the Warriors, did they mistreat him and stuff like that? So as much as I would have wanted to win it in Toronto, I
didn't want that.
I never felt comfortable with the game because like, and even when we lost, I was like, fuck, did we really just blow this? But then I was like, well, if KD's not playing, we can win in Golden State, but it just didn't feel right at all. What do you think?
No, it was just I didn't. You hate to see it because like he was easily their best player on the court for the first quarter, and it wasn't even close. And then he goes down, and I'm like, I don't want to win this way.
Yep.
And I'm glad they didn't. Like Golden State held it down, and Kawhi goes on that run. And I'm like,
you're like, oh,
it's like, wow,
my God,
we might actually do this. But then I'm like, wait, there's like 3 minutes left, and they still have Clay and Steph on the court.
Yeah,
I'm like,
people are texting me at this point. Like, I remember Kelly texting me. She's like, "Oh, I better see tears right now." I'm like, the game is not over.
Nowhere near over. There's so much time left.
And then, like, my mom and dad are celebrating. I'm like, the game is not over. Get off your fucking phones and look at the game.
Yeah,
I'm like.
It was, for me, it was just like, that's 6 points is 2 shots.
Yeah.
I'm like, if we miss one, they're coming down twice. It's a tie game. Like, I know they're lights out enough to do it, and sure enough, Clay and Steph, man, just come down, boom, three, boom, three, boom, three. I'm like, well, there you go.
Yeah. And that's what happened. And then people are talking about the Nick Nurse timeout when they were up 6.
I was kind of dumb.
I don't know. Like, do you lose the timeout if you don't take it? But, like, I do understand I'm smelling blood, but, like, your team's also tired. Like, yes, you're letting Golden State rest, but your guys are on their, like, last win.
Yeah. But you're just on this run. Just keep it rolling until they call it.
Well, Kawhi's on this run.
Yeah.
And then I think there was the conspiracy that Lowry actually called the timeout and not Nick. But, it was sucky because Nick Nurse finally had his rookie moment.
Mm-hmm. It just happened at a pretty key time.
Literally the worst time that it could possibly happen because you stopped the momentum and you could have won a title and Toronto would have literally burned to the ground that night.
Yep. It would have been really cool, like, as much as I didn't want to win that, not even that. Yeah. Like, it came down, there was, like, you got the shot to win it and the ball goes to Kyle Lowry, and I'm like, if Kyle Lowry's the guy that hits the game winner,
everything would have been perfect
in Toronto to win the series. I'm like, he got the ball, and I'm like, no, and then he missed it, and I'm like, fuck, man, like that would that's the ideal moment if you're a Toronto Raptors fan. It's like the guy that's been here,
the
through
vindication
it all, gets the ball to win it. You can't top that.
No, absolutely, and like. You think that this We the North run starts with in the Game 7 game against Brooklyn with Lowry getting blocked by Paul Pierce and you end up losing that game and you see Lowry on the ground. Like, it literally would have been the most storybook ending. And the worst part is, look at Lowry's shot, like, and how it was. I'm like, he literally got blocked by Draymond. Shut up.
Draymond can play defense. What do you want?
Yeah.
Sorry. Get him in Game 6.
And, and... You know, Game 6 is marred in a way, but, like, it's also not because, well, do you think the Raptors win if Clay? I don't think that they do because Clay is Game 6 Clay. It's unbelievable.
Clay was so good, man.
He was unreal.
Honestly,
30
the thought
points in 3 quarters.
I went out with a buddy of mine. There was a bunch of us there, but I was sitting with a buddy of mine, and Clay goes down. He turns and looks at me, and he goes, "Holy fuck, we can win this."
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is how I felt on it. And as soon as he did it, I'm like, shit, we might have this. Because it was like, what's left? Like, you're going to box in one Steph the rest of the game because there's no other shooters.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm like.
So game 6 coming in, you're thinking, all right, are the Raptors really going to go 4-0 in Oracle this year in the toughest environment to play in?
Yeah.
Are they
in
really
the last ever game at Oracle Arena?
Yeah. And everyone's like, everyone's picking Golden State.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, man, like, we can win it.
Mm-hmm. I doubt it.
I don't know if we will. Like, I hope we do.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not guaranteed. I was thinking, like, 45% chance we win this game.
Yeah.
50-50 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then the money, like, the line.
Yeah, the lines were almost even, dude.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Like the line for that game, I think it was Golden State. It was a
1-point spread. That's all I know. It was close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was gonna bet before the game, and I'm like, that's not even worth it.
Yeah. So the game starts with Kyle Lowry going on like what was it 11-0?
He went off, dude. I'm like, oh my god, awesome. Kyle's going for 30.
He was awesome to start that game. And it was all you could have wanted for a Raptors fan.
It was almost
to
like
see him go.
Kyle missed that last shot. And he's like, "Fuck it, I'm not missing again." And
yeah, he's like, "All right, I'm letting it rip."
Yeah.
So he scores what 23, 24 in the first half.
Yeah.
And you're like, "All right, we're feeling good." Mm-hmm. And then Pascal got 2 threes, which was the first threes I think since game 1 or even of the series.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, I'm feeling good. Mm-hmm. And then you have Clay going off, and somehow Toronto puts together like the best quarter of basketball that they could, and yet you're only up 1 at the end of the first quarter.
That's what I mean. Like, we're sitting there like cheering the entire time, and you look at the score, and I'm like, fuck, we're not even.
Golden State just had an answer for everything, and it was weird because the crowd was into it, but also not into it. It was weird. And then you go into halftime up 3, and you're like, all right, the game is there for the taking. Golden State's going to come out hard in the third.
They're a big third-quarter team.
Yeah, what's going to happen? And it was in the third that Clay got hurt, right? Yeah, with 3 minutes left. And today, me and my dad were joking, and we're like, man, Danny Green's really the MVP of the team. Because, like, obviously you don't wish Clay to get hurt.
No, never.
Obviously.
Especially not like that. That was painful.
And it wasn't a dirty play at all.
No, just awkward. It was like Paul George a few years back. It was the same idea, and I'm like, you hate to see it.
But that's kind of like, it's kind of why you play defense, like, and you play hard. It's like, I'm not allowing you to get easy buckets.
No.
And unfortunately, obviously, sometimes like that stuff happens. Freak injuries happen because that's just how you land.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the hamstring injury that Clay had, it didn't help the fact that it led to those injuries. Well, to the torn ACL.
Yeah.
And then you had that incredible pop that the crowd had when he came running back out of the tunnel to shoot the free throws. I was literally shitting my pants when that happened.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh no. Because the crowd is going to be insufferable.
Yeah.
If he comes back and win and
just
so he makes the 2 free and then he's bouncing up and down and he's like, oh, I'm gonna play, and then they foul and get him out, and then it's like, oh yeah, it's torn ACL.
That's crazy.
Like,
the fact that he came back and hit those shots on a torn ACL, I'm like, wow, good for you, man. Like that's wild, gritty as fuck, but that's kind of puts a gray cloud over the game a bit.
Yeah, in a way it does.
Looking back. Then? No. I didn't think anything of it then. I'm like, holy fuck, we might win a championship.
Oh, my cousin just sent me a video of him pulling Josh Hader. Oh, lucky son of a bitch. But yeah, like it puts a cloud over it, and you're also like, we're gonna win.
Yeah. Like, that was it. It was instant confidence because I'm like, shit, they've got nothing left. No KD, no Clay. I'm like, what are you gonna put out?
And you're down at this point. You're down 2 going into the 4th, but you're in Oracle, and you're like, okay, we're a resilient team.
Yeah.
We can win somehow. And then,
well, you're looking at it. Even if you don't win this game, you're gonna win Game 7.
But then I was like, fuck, honestly, I don't know if we're going to win Game 7.
But
because anything can happen, and you have Steph. Like, what if Steph just goes off
85 points?
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then you had Iguodala making these ridiculous shots in the 3rd and the 4th where he was hitting these contested 2s. And he hit that 1-3 at the end of the shot clock where it's like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like, it was the Giannis shots where it's like, man, if they're hitting this, you're losing this game.
Yeah.
Like, you just feel that way.
Yeah.
So then that happens, and you're like, I don't know, is it destiny? Is it not? And then in the 4th quarter, my God, fucking Fred VanVleet just took over.
Dude, Freddie had some of the most clutch moments
I've ever seen.
Yeah, like it made it so much better that he had the Band-Aid on, and like he looked just so tough.
He looked like such a tough son of a bitch.
And he just like
it was awesome.
The 1-3,
the one yell
yeah,
after.
we're just screaming and like
yeah.
You see the Band-Aid and the black eyes, and I'm like, dude, this man's a warrior.
Yep. Jeremy Roenick pops. It's like, oh, still not tough enough. Still not the NHL.
Brutal.
But like, okay, so he had the 1-3 where he's like, he comes around his screen and Boogie's late to get him. He hits that one. He had the one is, I think, to put them up 3 late.
Yeah.
Was Quinn Cook was on him, and he's driving, and then Fred pulls the ball back, and Quinn Cook is just driving towards the bucket still, like running with him, and then he just pops it.
Yeah.
Like, Fred was unbelievable in the 4th. He scored 12 of, I think, 24.
Crazy.
12 points in the 4th.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, and it takes you back, and in the finals, you just have these weird performances where
the Mike Miller.
That's what
this
wins
is what my buddy said too. Because like this is like Mike Miller just showing up and
JJ
down.
Barea.
Yeah.
Like Manu off the bench. Like Jason Terry. Like, it's this the stuff that you can't count on, but like I count on Fred because, and I hated this last year. Remember game 1 against Cleveland where the Raptors have a chance for the win and we put up like 4 shots. Fred shoots the 3 and I'm like, I trust Fred with my life. Like, I'm absolutely letting him take that shot
every day.
And then people were clowning him, and it's like, why are you letting Fred VanVleet shoot that shot? I'm like,
because this is not Fred VanVleet. This is playoff Fred VanVleet.
And this is last year. Like, if you told me like the rankings of people I trusted on the Raptors last year, I would have told you Fred number 1 without a question. And then going into
DeMar's
this year,
not hitting it. Kyle's not hitting it.
No.
Who's left?
Norm. That's what I mean. Playoff Norm though. That was the thing. Like, Fred was just such a steady guy that you trusted him to come through in the moment, and then he does. Serge was huge in this game. There was this 1-3 where Fred's it goes in and out, and then Ibaka's there for the rebound, puts the jump shot back in. You had the Siakam like game-winning bucket where out of the timeout, you're up 1, and then Draymond gambles for the steal, and then Pascal just Euro steps around and then scores the layup, and you're like, all right, we're up 3. Well, what can go wrong?
That's the first thought that crosses your mind. What can go wrong? This is still a Toronto team. How are we gonna blow this?
It's like, yeah, exactly. And then so Steph drives. Steph trips on himself. He does not get fouled. He trips on his own feet. You can see the replay. He gets 2 free throws. And then Raptors trying to inbound it. 1 timeout left. They called the timeout because they can't get it inbounded. Then out of the timeout, they inbound it to Kawhi. He gets it and throws it to Danny at the half-court line. And it sucks because Danny was in a shitty position, also with Draymond on him defending. And then he throws the ball away, which I was just like, God damn it, Danny.
Yeah. Why did he not hold on to that ball?
Everything. I also thought of that, but then I was like, what if Draymond gets a tie up and like I guess, and Fred was coming open down low. Pascal could have came towards the ball more.
Sure.
And like instead of standing where he was, like run open instead of because
to me it was just you hold on to that ball and it's like at the very worst you kill more time. I was just like that. It was a strange choice.
Yeah. Yeah. So then Golden State has the ball. No timeouts now because they called one. And they run an out-of-bounds play. They run the Brad Stevens play where you inbound it on the opposite side, so then you throw it to the weak side across the court, and they almost throw it away. Draymond almost fumbles the pass. And then you see Steph coming over a screen at the top of the play, and then he puts up a shot. And you're thinking, fuck my life. And then he misses. And it was weird because Steph had 2 other open threes that he missed in the fourth also. And you're like, okay, thank God. It was also a case where to start the second half, Clay and Steph had 2 open threes, and they could have made him totally change the game and put the Warriors up, I guess 3 in this case, and they missed those. And it was just it's one of those things where you just reminisce of like how many different chances Golden State had to take the lead, and they just simply didn't. So Steph misses the shot, and I'm like, oh my God. Get the rebound. And then Kawhi he's like patting the ball, and you're like, all right, are we just gonna pick it up? Like at some point I was like, can Kawhi just pick up the ball and just throw it into the front court? Like throw it to the just toss. If you toss it up in the air, you burn seconds, and maybe somehow it ends up like I think you could have burned the last 3 seconds, but who knows? But then Draymond falls on it, calls timeout. They don't have any timeouts. Technical foul. No. And the worst part was Draymond never had possession of the ball.
He was just like fumbling around
with 0.9 seconds left. Yeah. So then that happens, and you're like, okay, Kawhi goes, shoots the free throw. Awesome. 2-point game. Cool. And then the inbound play happens, and Kawhi gets fouled, but no time comes off the clock because it was before the play. It was the worst. And I was
We're just gonna drag this out as long as we can.
Like, and
yeah,
it was the most Raptors way to win because it never gave. It didn't give us satisfaction at all.
Yeah.
Because there was no like yes moment. It was like, all right, Kawhi's now got to hit two extremely tense free throws, and then if he does, then the game's over. But it was just a review.
Yeah, the review took way too
literally
long.
Forever.
Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, I'm like, so we're gonna screw the Raptors and take no time off the clock, and also, not give you the bucket.
Stupid.
To where it could have been an and one.
Yeah.
Dumb. But also in hindsight, it was probably the best play that Draymond could have made, is calling the timeout, because if you don't call the timeout, then what? You're just gonna pass it to someone with 0.9 seconds left to shoot. No, you
hope
stop
for the best,
clock, and then you still, if Kawhi misses a free throw, then you can still heave a shot from there.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a great one, but it's still more of a chance you make that than exactly into the net. Yeah. So, but in the moment when Steph takes that shot, I'm just like, fuck, Game 7. I got to see this shot all over the place. And the thing is, no one talks about is Steph makes that shot, then the Raps got to inbound and go score right away because they have no timeouts left, which is brutal. And it was one of those things. Once obviously the Raptors win, you're like, now 2 days later, I'm like, man, I wish
just to keep having this feeling.
I miss basketball. Like, I really miss. So the Raps win, and you see Kyle just has a knack for getting the ball after the game. He just tracks it down. You see Serge just jump on the basket and start hanging from it. And you see Kyle and Kawhi embrace each other. It was awesome. And then they show on the TV Kyle calling out Masai. And then that comes into the whole situation with the cop with Masai.
I've heard a bunch on it.
Did you read all about it?
Just fucking stupid.
Yeah. To where credit the San Francisco cop or Oakland cops for getting out on the story and influencing the story from the start, where it's like, oh, Masai punched the cop. A Raptors executive punched a police officer and assaulted a police officer. It's like, what? Meanwhile, it's clearly not the story after, like, literally everyone's been reporting it, that didn't happen. There's season ticket holders that have came out and said, yeah, this did not happen. John Wiener, nice, a Warrior season ticket holder. The police aren't telling the truth, and basically that the officer never asked for his credential at all.
Well, you literally see videos of the entire walk down there. He had it in his hand. He got on the court. He still had it in his hand. It's like, what are you trying to argue?
Yeah. So it's also a thing to where I was listening to Ryan Russillo's podcast, and he was like, the security staff, they just wanted to give people a hard time. And you needed, if you were going to be on the court after the game, you needed a special credential, I guess, or something, or band or something. And if you didn't have it, then you can't go. But I think it was more the fact like, he just didn't want this guy going on. Like, he just. So then there was this other. I want to say, I think he's a photographer. For a Toronto publication where it was, I also had.
Yeah, but you're not Masai Ujiri.
Like that, and they didn't want me. That's my thing. Like, I was like, yo, this guy's the media in the States are so fucked up where they always refer to Masai as the general manager of the Toronto Raptors. Put some fucking respect on this guy's name. He's the president of the Toronto Raptors. Get out of here.
Bobby Webster's the GM, right? Yeah.
No, he's not.
What I thought.
That Bobby Webster's the GM. Like, he hasn't been the GM.
I've seen a bunch
of
reports on that where it's just like Raptors GM Masai Ujiri. I'm like, no.
This guy's name. Yeah. I would, if I'm Masai, I'm gonna snap at some point and I'll be like, nah, fuck off, all of you. Like you'll go on ESPN and they'll still say, GM of the Raptors. It's like, no, I'm the president, man. So you see the videos of like Kyle pulling Masai out of the crowd. It's insane because you can see, Masai's clearly
the look on his face
physically shook.
Like, pain.
At the fact that it's so disheartening. And it's the greatest moment of his life. And you see, and there's a video of Masai backstage with like a bunch of Warriors fans, I guess, and media people watching the ending of the game, and he's with his handler, and he's like, "Oh my God, we did it!" And they just embrace. And then Masai in the hall is just like, "Yes, yeah!" And you see him have his credential in his hand, and the guy just doesn't let him on the court. Which, hey, this is what we know right now. Maybe it's a different story, but like this is what this is what we've seen
at this point, right? Because there's so much video about it.
Yeah, that he has something. He has a credential in his hand, but it's that every witness is like, no,
bullshit.
The report that you guys put out is categorically wrong. Yeah, so it sucks because you see he's shook, and you see that video, and it's crazy how simultaneous it is that this whole situation breaks down, and you see Kyle recognizes, because Kyle saw the situation happen, because his first words to Masai is, hey, don't worry about that guy. You're here. Yeah. Fuck that. You're here. And we just want, and then they just embrace and stuff. I'm like, man, this is all I've wanted. Because like the most valuable person for the Raptors franchise is Masai, and it's not
the things he's done for this team, man. Like even like right from the start, he had belief in this team, even when they weren't. Like even back in like the fuck Brooklyn days and like all the way to now. Yeah. He's identified with the city like so much, and it also has to deal with the fact that he's an African GM that is like, look, he's African. He's not the GM. Put some respect on his name.
Of a team where yeah. Well, at the time, but like there's not many people of positions of color like at the highest level that you could possibly be, and in as multicultural of a city that Toronto is, it means something. And then he just has he has a belief, and he was like, I don't understand why we just think that the worst is going to happen. And like he wanted it as much as the fans did, and he deserves as much credit, if not more, than any other player building what the Raptors are today.
Dude, he gave them a culture.
Without them, I know 100%.
Like, you kind of don't really notice it, but like before this team was winning, there was nothing about this team that was any good.
It was the fact that his first move was trading Andrea Bargnani for a first-round pick was incredible. The guy turned Andrea Bargnani into Kawhi Leonard.
Incredible.
How?
But like, I remember going to games back in the days of like Bargnani and Calderon and like Sonny Weems and like shit like that, and I'm like, ugh.
Bro, this isn't going to be a total slander podcast, but like, we'll talk about all the shitty players that we had to watch growing up. Like, I remember thinking Sonny Weems and Joey Graham were going to be like the
remember
shit.
Like Psycho T?
Like, nah, these guys are scrubs. Like, oh yeah, Tyler Hansbrough.
Oh, dude.
Linus Kleza.
Remember when Rudy Gay was going to be the savior for a little bit?
Turkoglu. Yo, when Rudy Gay got traded,
that was huge, and he sucks.
Awesome. And then towards the end, I was like, "Yo, Rudy sucks," because like I would hear it, like you realize the percentages that he shoots, and like analytically, you're like, he's.
But that was great at the time. We're like, "Oh my god, we got Rudy Gay! It's something to cheer for."
Exactly. Could he be the guy that And you're like, oh, the trio of Lowry,
DeMar.
Rudy DeRozan.
Cool.
Yeah, okay. Okay, sure. Yeah. And then that trade, he pulls off that trade where you're like, all right, we're dumping a guy that has some value. Like, he's thought of as a good player in Rudy Gay for parts.
I'm like, thank you.
And like role
blow
players.
It up, please.
And
thank you.
So that was the whole idea, and like he went from he was gonna blow up the team to where Lowry was going to be traded for Iman Shumpert to New York, and then they were gonna tank that season. They were gonna try to get Andrew Wiggins in that draft because that was the year 2014, the year that he was in the draft. And then the Knicks pull out of the trade because Iman Shumpert got hot.
Thank
for like 2
God.
weeks. So the Raptors never end up making that trade because
so
James Dolan nixed the deal. And Masai ends up turning this team to where he was crafting them this, like, he built a championship team out of nothing because he's never gotten to rebuild the team himself.
He's never bought together with
he's never traded away everyone.
He's done a good job developing guys. Like,
it's incredible.
You develop a guy like Siakam, like Fred VanVleet. Like, he didn't play a role, but OG Anunoby's still here.
You find guys.
Yeah.
Yo, he's such a stud too. And the thing is, you get these guys and you're like, I saw this hilarious tweet today where it was, man, if Masai Ujiri had the assets of Danny Ainge, the Boston Celtics,
I think he's GM.
I don't know if he's president or GM. I won't put,
Yeah.
Masai would literally have created a dynasty if he was in Boston.
But like, you think it, like, he developed Jakob Poeltl, helped turn that into Kawhi. You gave JV every chance to succeed you can. And he looked great this year, and it gave him enough value to get a guy like Marc Gasol. DeLon Wright went. Like, you develop these guys. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and it was like, and like you're drafting all these guys.
Yeah.
These are drafted with like in the 20 range. All of them except Jakob Poeltl.
They were never lottery team for the last
which is
6 years.
No, DeLon was 20. DeLon was 23rd. I want to say OG was 23rd. Bruno was 20th.
He's like 3 years away from being 3 years away.
He could have played on this team. He could have actually played on this team. I'm not even kidding. DeLon was Pascal 27th. Like, when Pascal was taken, if I had my old Twitter account and Twitter wasn't a piece of shit, like, I could have pulled up the tweets where it's like, who the fuck is
that?
Pascal
Seemed to be
Siakam?
all of their draft picks, man. It was
right?
like, who?
He was a literal.
Like, there's so many options right now, and this is what you went with. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's like,
but it worked.
Yeah, it was like 2 of the 4 with Bruno and Pascal, but he turned role players. A team of role players into a championship
It's the most
team,
like, it's one of the rare. Yeah, it's
the most improbable championship.
You see,
it's the most
like,
improbable
they
champions
won.
ever.
It's like the Carolina Hurricanes, to give it a little bit of comparison, because it's like, it's just straight chemistry, top to bottom. You're getting input from everyone, like. Yeah,
but it was a 1-year team, which is insane because like chemistry is not like, think of the people that you would think would have chemistry.
But they not
Lowry and Ibaka, but Marc Gasol was new. Pascal he doesn't have chemistry like that with these guys.
Kawhi's
even though
new,
he's been on the team, he wasn't a starter.
Like, he's a big dressing room guy, and I get that, but like,
the thing is, like, Kawhi. It felt all year that there was the Kawhi offense and then there was the Raptors offense. It was 2 different things.
Score,
it was like, here Kawhi
get
a
maybe
bucket,
we'll try
and then there
something.
was the Raptors. Yeah, ball movement.
But like,
exactly,
it's just he built a bunch of character guys that without.
It's like, we put a bunch of smart people together, and
it's one of the only teams where you could say, you know what, if you took any of these guys off this team, they wouldn't have won. How many teams can you go that deep in a bench and be like, if you take this guy off, they won't win the series, or they won't win anything?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, if you see all these random guys that the Raptors have at the end of their bench, it's because we gave up some of our depth with like DeLon Wright in order to upgrade on JV, right? Like, I could tell you with 100% certainty, if Marc Gasol wasn't there for the 76ers series and JV was, we don't beat the Sixers, because Marc Gasol was incredible defensively, and then also just his playmaking altogether, to where you could just leave him at the top of the key and guys would have to come out and defend him, but also he could just he could distribute the ball. He's one of your best passers on the team.
There's so many threats from that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He added different dimensions to the team, and then like you have a steady guy. I mean, he was off and on, but a steady presence with Danny Green, and then you have the like ultimate leader in Kawhi, to where I don't need to say anything. Like you guys literally just see me and what I'm doing, and then they really showed it in games 3 and 4 when Toronto walked off the court and they were like, What
was it? It was
like,
Kendrick Perkins had tweeted out when they were coming off the court, right? He was really good.
Yeah, he was literally awesome. Yo, he is fantastic with the media, and the thing is, he doesn't have like an exclusive thing, so he'll just show up on ESPN and Fox. ESPN better hire him ASAP.
But yeah, he tweeted out where they weren't even cheering, doing nothing on the way back, just business. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think the coolest thing we've kind of forgot to mention about Kawhi too was when Nick Nurse was like, "Yeah, let's try and get at least 1 or 2 here in Golden State," and Kawhi's just like, "Fuck that, take them both."
Fuck that, let's get 2. It's like, oh my god, it's
Apple
like,
time.
Man, it's one of those things where it's like, it's where it's like, man, I wish I was in the room for these things, because like. It's just so I can't wait till it should be later this week, probably after the parade, when the Raptors release Open Gym.
Yeah,
that'll be so cool because it'll show like behind the scenes and stuff. It probably won't show that stuff, but it's just another perspective to where fans don't see that stuff going on.
Man, one thing I kind of not really important, but like the opening, like the player introductions. Every time Kyle Lowry does his, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. You got guys laying down, you got guys swimming, you got guys doing other shit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But I'm like, it's a chemistry thing, man. You get like teams that do that, they're having fun. Like you're enjoying yourself and you're enjoying playing this game with your brothers out here. And it's like, you gotta love it.
And it was weird because like, even though they were so new together, it felt like this.
It was just the right group of guys.
Like. Yeah, like those 7-8 guys that played, like they just they gelled so good together. It was unreal seeing like Adam Silver introduce the Raptors as champions. And then you had Doris Burke doing all the interviews, and then, like, I love Doris,
and it's been Steph Curry or LeBron James, and now it's one of our guys. I'm like, oh my god,
exactly.
I was saying we were at the bar, and I was saying because like I've won my own championships in my life, and never in my life have I jumped as high as I have when the Raptors won that thing. I was floating, man.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
I ran outside and started screaming. I was like, "Let's go!"
It was incredible. Like across the city, like it's just nuts. So we went to a concert. What day is it? Friday night I went. And so we went there, and I wore my Kyle Lowry jersey. I forgot to mention that. So I won a Kyle Lowry jersey at that Game 6 game on a raffle. So I wore that to Buffalo, this concert's in. And I shit you not, I high-fived like 25, 30 people that night. Just because it's like everyone you walk by, it's like, go Raps, awesome. 6-6, let's go. I'm like, everyone. I love it. Yeah, but it's just like, it's crazy.
But it's weird because I got so emotional when Sportsnet came out with this video before Game 5, and it was an awesome video. And they were teasing like and now NBA champion Toronto Raptors. I started like crying. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I was like on the toilet, like you know when you're on your phone on the toilet and stuff. I was just tearing up on the fucking toilet. I was like, it was unbelievable.
Man.
It was like. Why am I in the club crying right now?
One thing I regret a little bit was not going downtown for the celebrations, because like I talked to one of the guys that ended up sitting beside us at the concert was also from Canada, and he said he went down and it was just nuts. Like it wasn't like a riot, it wasn't anything, just a bunch of people celebrating. It's like you just throwing high fives and yelling and screaming, just enjoying yourself, and it's like I give her.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah,
I wish I did, but like,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if I like people that much
for a bit.
So my uncle, he was at Celebration Square in Mississauga, and then he went to downtown after. He's like, "Yo, it's insane down here." I was like, he went with my 2 younger cousins and his girlfriend, like, or his fiance. It was nuts. But it's one of those things where tomorrow's the parade, and I'm like, I want to go, but I also don't want to go. But like, I think I have to go.
Anything.
Because I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to experience anything like this. Yeah.
I mean, I hope the Leafs do. Don't get me wrong, but you never know, right? No.
Yeah. There's no guarantees. Like, that's the thing. Because I can't remember what podcast I was listening to, but when the Leafs won in '67, people were like, "Oh, I'm not going to the parade because they'll just win it again next year."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, fuck." No. Like, I don't want to have that feeling where it's like I'm waiting a lifetime.
Yeah.
To
this
think
could be your only shot, and no sense in missing it. Yeah.
Absolutely. What to talk about next? So the Raptors win, and within fucking 2 or 3 minutes, Woj tweets out that the Wizards are prepping for Masai Ujiri to get a massive contract from them, an offer for Masai, and I'm like, fuck off, Woj.
Just
like,
tweet
you
this
can't
tomorrow.
Let me enjoy this for like, like what? First of all, you know that this is already going to be happening. Why aren't you already saying it? Because it's going to be tampering.
Yeah.
So everyone knows that it's been tampering already. If this is out there, also it was reported that it's 6 years, $60 million, and that it would include some ownership stake. Are you nuts? If
they got the money,
MLSE won't match that. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know about the ownership stake, but MLSE would give him so much more. Like, he's getting paid $7 million right now, and I was like,
"Yeah,
bro, Mike Babcock makes $7 million
to coach."
I was like, Mike Babcock's exactly, and Masai's won us a title in a sport that basketball makes more money than hockey.
Bigger market
from TV deal, exactly. He's not leaving. I can unless Kawhi leaves, but even then, because the Masai stuff I think will be wrapped up soon, because the draft's coming up. Like, I'm sure you would want that to be cleared up. No. There's no way. I think
I saw. I forget. I don't know if it was a tweet or someone posted an article or something, but the quote from Masai was, "We're gonna keep winning" or something like that, and like. It's a we thing, man. It's not like he doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
He wants to. But this is the team he built. As much as we say like he didn't actually draft any of this and it's just kind of got handed to him. This is the team he built. Like, he created this. He turned his guys into something like this. And
it's like, I turned Brian Colangelo. I turned your dog shit into fucking gold, right? So, no, I don't see him leaving. I think he's the face of the Toronto franchise. And why would you leave for the fucking Wizards?
Right, yeah.
Literally the worst to run. Bradley Beal's your one asset, but do you trade? Exactly. John Wall is also the worst contract in the league. He's out all of next year. He tore his Achilles and his ACL or something.
He's got both of the KD and possible. Clay injuries together.
And Clay, yep. So why would you possibly take that job? What
benefit do you have other than the money?
Like, basically that Obama's in DC, and that it would be a bigger platform for Basketball Without Borders.
Right.
So I'm like, cool. And his wife's from DC. I'm like, all right, also cool.
Is Obama still in DC?
Why would you do it? Is
he didn't go back?
He lives in DC.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, to Chicago? No. Yeah. Well, that's what reports said. And then also now reports are saying that the Wizards aren't preparing an offer. Nothing. They're not speaking to Masai. Like, nothing's imminent. So I'm like, all right, cool. maybe it was just Masai putting this out there to get.
He wants to be here, but he wants that money to be here.
But like the Raptors,
yeah,
which I'm like, fine, you deserve it. Masai is in a situation where it's like a Pat Riley situation with Miami, where it's like you have a lifetime contract. Just do your job, because I know that there's no one else out there that is going to do a better job than you. Why the hell would I fire you? Ever, like, as long as you want to be here, I will. It's Masai should have a contract to where it's a.
You're here for life.
Yes, but also. It's the Wayne Gretzky contract where he's always the highest paid GM or player in the league. Just give him that. He's always the highest paid general manager, or in like a franchise tag kind of way, a top 5 at the position. That he's the average of all of them. Like Bill Belichick, I think has that with the Patriots also. So why wouldn't you do that? Okay, next thing. Is Kyle Lowry now a Hall of Famer?
I don't think his numbers are.
I think so.
I don't know a lot about the basketball.
If you compare every statistic,
that's tough for me to speak on.
Okay, so basically the Basketball Hall of Fame, anybody and everybody gets in. The thing is, if you compare him statistically to Chauncey Billups, which I think is an apt comparison, their numbers are basically the same.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
He's going to be.
I don't know.
I don't know if he's eligible,
tough to say.
but
I think a lot of Kyle's game is on the back end too. And I don't know. Yeah.
Sure, but they were both late bloomers, so that's why it makes sense. So like I just want to point out that Vlade Divac is now going to be in the Hall of Fame, and it's basically off of.
Really? Isn't it?
He was an All-Star once.
5, 6? 5 straight. Yeah.
5 straight.
Possible.
Like, I think it's more like Vlade Divac made the Hall of Fame this year based off of, I think, growth of the game more than anything. Like, how wouldn't you argue that Kyle's the greatest Toronto Raptor ever after this?
Kawhi?
What? Who are you going to say? DeMar? Well, sorry. No, he's not. He's not. Hold on.
Kawhi's 1 for 1.
Kawhi is the best. Kawhi is the best He's the greatest
He's a better
Raptor
Raptor
ever, but Kyle Lowry is the greatest Raptor. Yeah. Exactly.
Potentially.
Fact.
Doesn't
both
DeMar still lead in
both
everything?
Have a title, you know. Kyle leads in playoff scoring.
I think like
but
regular
points
season,
maybe
DeMar leads in like everything, and to me it was just like DeMar loved this city. And I don't really get that feeling with Kyle. So, I mean, to me, it was just like DeMar was the guy. He was our face. He was everything. He never won, sure.
Sure. It was a weird relationship because it's just different.
No.
Because Kyle, he never had the eye-popping numbers, but I always felt that, like, his game was so much more Toronto than anyone else because it was Philly, like, tough, hard-nosed to where he was a real blue-collar guy. So I don't know. I think he is, and if you look at Basketball Reference has this like Hall of Fame probability, and it looks like he should make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as he puts in like a couple more years, like he does. I don't know if he has to be an All-Star, like again next year. Like if he's an All-Star for 6 straight years, then I don't understand how you don't put him in. But even like Reggie Miller, look at this. He retired with the most 3-point field goals ever, but he was a 5-time All-Star.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I honestly, I don't know enough about like the Basketball Hall of Fame to comment on it. To be honest.
So my thing that I hated was that Andre
Iggy's a Hall of Famer.
Iguodala is a Hall of Famer. I'm like, what?
Iggy's been a 6th man for
because I'm like. Iggy was Iggy. That's what I mean. A role player on a championship team is not like that's not Hall of Fame worthy. Like, could he be in the Hall of Fame? Sure, but like you're using his accomplishment of being a Finals MVP when everyone agrees
LeBron
that Steph should have been the MVP of that series and that it was a joke.
Yeah.
Fact. Except that we gave it to Iggy because of his defense on LeBron. Meanwhile, LeBron was scoring 37 points in that series a game.
Right.
So it's like, what do you mean? Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that was a farce.
It'll be fun.
I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I think he's just been awesome.
Kawhi?
What is... So I think the Kawhi trade, I think, changes basketball forever. And I think you've seen that with, like, even the Celtics, they were in on Anthony Davis, even though
you're all trying to bring in this big fish for 1 year.
To where... Yeah. And that everyone that was gun shy is like, okay, we can't miss again on this guy. Because basically the Celtics didn't want to include Jaylen Brown last year in a Kawhi trade. To where, yeah. And I like Jaylen Brown, and he's good.
I saw that today, that list of stuff that Danny Ainge has done. I'm like, oh, buddy, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then now, like, I understand why they didn't do Davis.
We'll get to that later, I think. But that deal is atrocious. It scares me. Do you want to just touch that now while we're here, and then we'll get back to the Raps? Okay.
All right. Yeah. Let me say the Danny Ainge point first. I think why you don't make that move is that it's still that. Look, your core is Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and if you trade that for Anthony Davis and he bounces in a year, you can't do that. Meanwhile, if you're the Lakers, you have to do that trade because look, if LeBron is in his prime years.
I think he's past his prime years.
He's
still good. He's still LeBron.
I mean, who knows? He was still considered the greatest player on earth a year ago, and even at some points this year, he was still averaging ridiculous amounts of points, rebounds, and assists. Like, he's still LeBron James at the end of the day, and he'll get foul calls called. Like, he'll get rep calls, and he's still that dude.
I think it's brutal.
What's your thoughts on the Anthony Davis
trade? For L.A. I get it. It's just like what do you do in 3 years when LeBron's no longer LeBron and you don't have AD because he didn't re-sign? What's keeping him there?
Why wouldn't AD re-sign?
LeBron?
Basically, there's a guarantee basically that he stays.
Okay, so now you've basically turned yourself into the Pelicans of what, 2 years ago? When it was just AD.
Who's to say LeBron isn't
Father Time's got to hit him. Is he not 30?
Are you telling me in 3 years LeBron can't be a...
4?
Hold on, no. 34, 35. But, like, are you telling me that he can't still be, like... You know how Kobe wasn't
but look
exactly
how
Kobe,
the Lakers were never
Kobe?
good when he wasn't Kobe, but he was still Kobe. Like, they couldn't win. They sucked.
And now you add Anthony Davis, who, let's not forget, a year ago, everyone was saying Anthony Davis was the best player in the NBA.
ACL? No. Was it?
No, Anthony Davis, no. It was like a thumb or something.
He missed significant time,
shoulder. It was basically Anthony this year, it was just because he doesn't want
it was the Kawhi Leonard
the Pelicans
type of thing?
Don't want him injured.
Almost.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just, to me, it's like, I don't think Ball.
So
it's Ball, Ingram, and who's the other one? I don't think
Josh
the three
Hart
of them are going to be
3 first-round picks, and then you had the.
I don't think the three of them are going to be anything special.
You have the
which is fine. Like the prospects.
That's why I'm like, why don't you do that?
The 4th overall pick this year, and then the first-round pick next year, I think it is, and then it's like a swap in 2023.
So it's 19. It's this year, number 4, 2021, and then the right to swap in 22,
guaranteed swap in,
and then 2024 with the right 2024, and then the right to defer to 25. And I think you can keep deferring it if you want. It's nuts.
The Lakers are going to be bad eventually.
The picks were the.
So that pick's going to be pretty nice.
But those are the assets. But that's
8
years down the line.
Sure.
Or 6 years. And in 6 years, Anthony Davis.
All I'm saying is you better hope that this team succeeds now, or else it's going to look really bad. Sure, then I'll shut my mouth because
if you win a ring,
but
none
like
of this
to me,
matters.
I don't know. Like I know Anthony Davis is incredible, and I know they still have LeBron, but like you've seen it, man. The Golden State Warriors couldn't do it with 3 or 4 guys.
But if Golden State had to give up their next 10 first-round picks for the right to Kevin Durant, they absolutely would have. Like,
yeah, but for them, it
doesn't
matter.
For the next 10 years for
3.
the greatest, one of the. That's what I mean. Like, if LA goes on this run for the next 3 years, and it's absolutely possible that look, what if now that they sign
have money for a supermax,
Kyrie or Kemba
or a max?
But no, so this is the weird thing. They can't sign a guy to a max deal because so originally the thought was that the deal would go through July 30th, and then the Lakers would still be able to sign a guy at the beginning of free agency, right? Because they would have had max slots, and then with the money that Ingram, Ball, Hart, and then the 4th pick make. That adds up to Anthony Davis. So then you can do that trade after. So you're trading into another max slot, if you get what I'm saying, right? So then you have 3 on your team. Well, the Pelicans are like, nah, fuck that. The trade's gonna go through July 6th, and then you're gonna be screwed.
They don't have a ton of room.
So they have 23, I think. So what if? Is it better that if the Lakers just surround LeBron with a bunch of good role players? Like, what if right now you have AD, Kuzma, and Anthony Davis? Say that's your 3, 4, and 5. What if you get Danny Green to be your 2 guard? That's good. Yeah. That's going to be a problem for the Raptors.
Not worried about
cross that bridge
yet.
in like a week.
Let's celebrate the parade and we'll get there.
No.
Yeah.
I want some really big rings. Like, what if you just
do what the Raptors did
and just surround LeBron with 3-point shooters? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like with that last money.
Only concern is like did you hear what Rondo said about LeBron and how he essentially just tore apart the team this year?
No.
Yeah. But it was like apparently
didn't everyone
it was
know
like
that?
the young guys were saying like they didn't want to play basketball anymore. Like they were sick of this. Like if that's going to be your attitude, like what happens if this Lakers team doesn't succeed out the gate?
It's
right. Like if you're going to get that LeBron, like I understand LeBron is the greatest player in the game and he has the right to help like with decisions and shit. But when you're trying to trade your whole team for one guy and like you're just saying fuck this entire team, I just want these certain guys. What if that doesn't go through? Like that locker room chemistry will never be what the Raptors is, and you're trying to do the same thing where you bring in a bunch of role guys, and like you can't really build that chemistry if one guy's like, no, I don't like you.
I disagree. I think you can grow a bunch of chemistry.
Yeah, sure.
LeBron and Anthony Davis are going to grow a bunch of chemistry on the set of Space Jam 2, man.
Great. So your top 2 guys love each other, and the rest of them, what? I don't know.
Yeah. No. What does Kemba Walker take less and take the? I think instead of the max at like 28 or 30, at 22. And be like, money's not that important to me. Yeah. Let me go win titles with the Lakers. And
yeah, that's fair.
I become a Hall of Famer.
What he's looking for. If you're looking for cash, then no. If you're looking for fame, it's your spot, right? Nobody really knows unless you know these guys personally.
Bro, get Kemba out of fucking Charlotte. Unless he signs a Supermax, which like
that's
Charlotte,
what I mean. Like
fucked,
if he's going for
Kemba,
cash, then he's not
money.
going anywhere. But
it's 254, I think, or 256. He could sign. Basketball money is nuts. It's like Austin Matthews won't make 256 in his entire career. Probably, right? And Kemba Walker can make it in.
Depends what Austin's next ticket is, but yeah,
potentially. Yeah. So 80.
Yeah, no, he won't.
Maybe
right.
100 at most, like 100.
Yeah.
Right?
That's crazy.
Like that's insane. Yeah. I think the Lakers. So I think the Lakers felt pressure to make this move, not only because of the tumultuous fucking aura that team has right now, but also the Kawhi trade, and I think other teams are going to feel pressure of, let's take a swing. Like, it all started with the Paul George trade, to where, look, he stayed in OKC, and now the Kawhi trade turned out because he brought a title. Like, I think the Kawhi trade is probably the greatest trade of all time. Because people would say the James Harden trade because they got him for 3 lottery picks and nothing, basically. But looking back on it, look, James Harden hasn't done dick. He hasn't even been to a finals with the Rockets.
Yeah. He's done a lot for himself.
Yeah.
Not much for the team.
Yeah. The Raptors are having a media session right now, and Van Fleet.
His interviews are
talking,
hilarious.
And it's Fred, what happened in Vegas? And he's like, I think we know how that saying goes.
Yeah.
Yo, they were all in one. Did you see Pascal on SportsCenter? Holy fuck, there's this photo of him.
Yeah.
He's got the Cameroon flag draped around him. He's got the goggles on. He's got the hat on. And then he's got like a bottle of champagne. He's just like this chilling. Like, it was unbelievable. NBA Twitter was like, oh my God, he is my favorite player ever for doing this. And Scott Van Pelt was just like, yo, Pascal, pop that thing. It's already popped. Drake that thing. And like, it was like, oh my God, my players get to act like this. This is incredible.
Jeremy Lin won an NBA championship before Carmelo.
NBA champion before Carmelo. Let's go.
That's my favorite storyline of this thing so far, is all the Jeremy Lin stuff.
You love to see. Yo, I don't know if you've seen like you know how they do these like player montages.
Jeremy Lin in the finals.
Someone did one for Jeremy Lin. So they had like, so you know how they'll like run a replay back and like they'll zoom in. Yo, that shit so had me
I'm like, dude, the video was longer than his actual time on the court.
That shit was wild. Oh, he dribbles it through his
arm sleeve. I'm like,
dribbling out clock.
Great, I love it.
Yo. Oh my! The arm sleeve part. I watched it like 7 a.m. yesterday. I'm cackling in my bed. I'm so like, funny. Yo, Dad, look at this. Oh,
I know.
There's so much still to talk about. It's nuts. I don't know if I want to get into the Raptors.
Do we want to
title.
mention the fact that the Blues won a Stanley Cup? Or okay.
No, don't care.
Yeah.
I still have so much more to talk about the Raptors. All right.
Almost 2.
At what time are we in the podcast right now?
Hour 47.
Fuck. All right. So, for all you fuckos saying that the Raptors title is tainted, shut your damn mouth.
In a few years it won't be.
Because it's not. Brant?
But right now?
Bro, what was Golden State's... Do you remember Golden State's first title?
Not really.
Okay. Who was in that?
Oh, the Cavs.
On that Cavs.
The Cavs.
Golden State. Yeah.
Oh, wasn't Kevin Love and Kyrie hurt in that series? Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it went to 6
Look,
games.
I get it. In a few years,
LeBron
it's gonna be no one's gonna remember that. But like as of right now, like in the series, like I understand where people are like, "Wow, they're not even beating the best Golden State team they could beat."
Sure.
No.
But that's not how you play the game.
Go.
And it was also when Clay was playing, the Raptors still won. I know this doesn't equate to wins, but it clearly shows how dominant they were. Mm-hmm. They won like 13 of 16 quarters or something into game 4 or something. Like that's clear domination. The Raptors like they should have won in 5. They were the better team.
Maybe.
If KD plays, do they
chance?
Sure.
But
yeah,
not a great chance.
I think they have a chance, but it wouldn't have been as dominant as it was. No.
It's funny though, because we had a conversation way back when they signed Boogie that I was just like, what did the Raptors have to do in order to win? And I straight up said, like, you know what, the Golden State Warriors need to lose like Boogie, KD and someone else, and that's exactly what happened. And I'm like, yeah, see, told you. But
exactly, and it's like, oh, are the last 2 Golden State titles not tainted because they had to go out and get the best player in the NBA or its second best in Kevin Durant?
That already
it's
won.
Like to already add to a team that's won titles. Is the Cavs title not tainted for the 3-1? Like, oh, Draymond. If Draymond doesn't get suspended for the kick, then the Cavs lose, right? Like, stretching back to San Antonio, was that the LeBron cramps one? Tainted.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, but no. The one before, Ray Allen, if that shot doesn't, like, come on, like, there's all these different things that you could say. Like the Mavericks, if LeBron doesn't forget, like, have the worst series of his career.
Was it Golden State 2 years ago that Kawhi went down?
So
against them with the Spurs? If that doesn't happen, Golden State might not even be in the finals.
Yep. What's to say? Exactly.
Yeah, it happens every year. I'm not.
Like look at LeBron's first trip to the finals in 2007 against San Antonio, where he gets swept out of the playoffs. Do you realize like who LeBron's teammates were? It was like Anderson Varejao or Dunas Ilgauskas, Larry Hughes, my boy Boobie Gibson. Like, that team was garbage. Yeah. They didn't even have my guy Mo Williams back then.
I mean, I don't care if it's tainted or not. I'm still going down there tomorrow and celebrating the shit out of it. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, like I liked what Brian Windhorst said. It's like, when you win a title, you don't have to apologize to anyone. You won. Like, banners fly forever. The Raptors still have the 2007 or 2008 or Atlantic Division title banner up there. Yeah. Like, the Leafs have so many meaningless banners up there now. Like, with all the retired numbers, it's like, bro.
It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
But
like, so. It's like, do we need does every single Leaf that's retired need a little thing? Yeah, like, what can't we do it like how Boston does for their title, like the Celtics do for their titles, where it's like a bunch of them on one thing? Yeah,
not these ones.
Yeah. Suck it. Man, I have so much content now that the Raptors are doing press conferences right now. I think Kawhi, Kyle are going to talk tomorrow. So, what do you think means more? A Raps title or a Leafs or Jays title?
My answer might be biased.
I know your answer.
But your answer might also be very biased because it just happened. I think if you were to ask me at the beginning of the season, I think it's Leafs without a doubt in my mind. Because they've been Toronto's team for a while. However, after the run we've just had, I could see where you're going to argue the Raptors. Because this has been ridiculous. This is like, it got the entire country on board, right? Bro, 50% of the population of Canada watched. Don't get me wrong, I get Game 6. But like, I don't know what the Leafs could be in that situation. I don't think the Jays are the Jays is fun, but it's also the only thing to watch at that point. So I mean, what else are you gonna do? The Leafs to me is like, you see what the Leafs pull in the first round in a series that you're expecting them to lose.
Yeah.
What happens when they get to the Stanley Cup final? What happens if they get to the third round? Right?
Yeah. So, for me, like, a lot of this is, like, media validation from the States. If the Leafs win a cup, bro.
No, but they don't care about hockey,
ESPN
right?
Give a shit. No. They barely even care now.
Does it mean anything to the, like, North America wide? No, probably not. But, like, to Canada, to Ontario. This is the other thing, too, is, like, Toronto doesn't have the entire country. Like, Leafs don't have the entire country.
Yeah, that's why. Which is why I mean, like,
Sure.
I think it means more for these other.
Sure,
like,
but it's also I feel like you're going to get more people tuning
Raps.
in on a Leaf thing because there's half a country that wants them to lose. But I just
sure, I can see that. So what I argue is like, I don't think Maple Leaf Square has as many people if the Leafs are in the Cup.
It was pretty packed for round one.
See, I think I think the demographic is different. Like okay, you look into a Leafs crowd, and yeah, there's it's a lot of white people, sport. Right? Like,
yeah, I feel like basketball probably unites people more, but there is still a lot of
100% because it's a cooler sport.
Yeah,
there's more action.
Right.
Because hockey, there's action,
a lot of
but
times
there's
you
no
can just
action.
pass the puck around and not be doing anything.
Like goal, there's a reason why there's such a pop when goals are scored.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the NBA is back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and that's why you're like, holy shit, this is the most stressful thing I've ever seen in my life. There's runs and all this.
I'm kind of changing my stance on baseball a little bit, thinking like just going through all this. I'm like.
It doesn't matter. Like, baseball is such a localized thing now where I'm like, it really doesn't, like, on a mass scale, if someone wins the World Series, unless it's like the Cubs breaking that drought or like the Red Sox when they broke theirs.
But how much would
it doesn't really
Jays
matter.
World Series win to the country right now? I think this year might definitely be less because there's about 17 fans that watch it still. But, like, they still have the whole... when they were in their height of their playoff runs... They had the whole country watching.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like they made it to round 2.
Yeah. So what I'll say with that is like, baseball is a localized sport. You're not getting people from outside of your jurisdiction to watch another team's baseball. Like, just because it's such a slow sport, like how
unless you're a baseball fan, like you're not gonna
where I'm gonna sit. Yeah. Like fanatic, yeah, exactly. You're not watching Jays. Jays Phillies. Let's like, it's an East Coast thing. Like, why would the West Coast watch it? You know what I mean? Or like Jays San Francisco, because we'll beat the Bay again.
I don't think either team are anywhere near that happening.
Yeah, let's put $10 on that to win $10 million. Yeah. I don't know. I basketball matters on some,
I think that's
like,
the one thing it does have over the other two sports.
On like a influential level from like media and like young people, basketball just matters so much more. Like throughout my childhood, basketball has just always been the coolest sport. Even though like basketball in the mid 2000s or like the 2000s, it wasn't the most popular sport, but like the athletes were just so cool. And like you can even see that back in like the 90s with Jordans, like just the shoes alone, like you can market these guys so well that you can idolize these guys, and it matters so much more to where when you win a title, like these fucking Kawhi shirts, they fucking sell out in no time. Yeah. Like a guy that doesn't talk can be so marketable. Yeah. That the
one thing
have
I
such
can
an
say
influence
is I
that,
think,
you know,
just speculation. I think a Leafs win will be bigger for the city of Toronto than the Raptors will. Like countrywide, it's tough. It's tough because there's a team 5 hours down the road.
It's tough to. Yeah.
There's another team 3 hours after that, and then there's more on either side, right? Like, so it's tough to be a countrywide thing, and sure, it's probably bigger for the country that the Raptors win. However, for the area that I've lived in my entire life, I know pretty much all of it would be burned down in a heartbeat when the Leafs win. When the Leafs win, book it. Yeah. But like, because it's been like the Raptors, they've been around in 24 years. This is their 24 years. We've never seen a title. Okay. It's been 53 years for the Leafs.
53
after they were an absolute dynasty before that. And now it's just like we have not, like my parents haven't seen anything.
But like, how many teams? How many teams were in?
Yeah, it was a little less impressive
NHL
of a dynasty
when the Leafs won the last cup.
But they were like, you were so used to winning as a Leaf
like,
fan. It's just like, yeah, and now we haven't done it in 50 years.
Yeah. Like, am I wrong to say that like a lot of the numbers that are retired?
Some of them,
like,
I'm like, who?
Meh.
But there's a bunch. There's a bunch up there that are. You could kind of say the same thing of the Yankees. A little bit. There's a lot there. There's a lot that don't need to be retired. Honestly, retiring numbers is kind of stupid.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure.
It's cool.
But like, what was the thing? Was it Jack Edwards, the Boston guy? He was yipping this year when.
Yeah.
Dougie Hamilton wore 21 in the Whalers colors, and there's a Whaler that nobody's ever heard of that wore 21 back in the day, and his number was retired with the Whalers. And I'm like, who cares? Like,
stop it.
What?
The Jays are winning 11.
What? They've been slapped in the last 2 games.
Yeah, I swear to God. They're so trash. It's
man, like I've tried. I put on a couple games and I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah. So this is really cool. Nick Nurse just it's been out for a couple weeks, but Nick Nurse just confirmed that he's going to be the new head coach
That's kind of sweet, eh?
Canada's national team. That's so dope. Like, I think he's a top 8 coach in the NBA, and after, like, I think he's a better coach than Dwayne Casey, like, without a doubt. I know for a fact that with Casey we wouldn't have won a title. And people are like, oh, he never got to coach Kawhi and stuff. I'm like, damn right. I don't want him anywhere near Kawhi.
Sorry. God looks good.
Yeah, he's on fire. Yo, hitting wise, he is a piece, like, as his bat. Gurriel's a guy.
Man, sorry. While we're still kind of on the Jays, did you see him last night?
Yeah.
With the 2 outfield assists? He looks incredible out there, man. So like he cut off a ball, happened? Like he cut it off on his forehand side, turned and just fired a laser and beat the guy by like 3 strides. Just boom, right there, and then did the same thing. So that one was in like mid left field. The other one was like in the gap, cut it off, turned and fired through the guy out. Just absolute hose in like the left center field gap.
Where
at like to second. Both of them were trying to stress singles into doubles and just hosed them. Like he looks. Dude, he looks really good.
So you think he's gonna stay? You think he's gonna stay in left?
I wouldn't hurt. He's got the athleticism.
Do you try him in center?
Why not?
That's what I mean. Like speed wise, I don't know if.
No.
Grichuk is not a center fielder. I hate that contract so much now.
It's just
because I hate watching him. Mm-hmm. Like he's gonna hit 230.
He's a guy you want on your
like
bench.
25 bombs, but I'm like, this is agonizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully he gets hot near the deadline and you can do something impossible. With that. But I don't know. Biggio hit a yuck the other day. Just hammered it.
Let me look for some tweets on Raps. What else do we have?
We might be tapped out in the Raps.
Close to maybe. So, did you hear that there's an expected 1.5 to 2 million people tomorrow?
Steve Dangle tweeted something that was kind of funny. It's just like the whole city of the driving aspect of Toronto is going to be shut down.
Yeah.
No one's going to give a shit.
Yep. Yeah, I'm like rethinking going down now. If 1.5 million people are going to be there. Like I hate people.
I like people when I'm hammered. But I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can swing that.
Yeah, how I don't know how sloshed I can get if I gotta walk across the stage for grad. It's just like by 3:30 you have to be somewhere.
I don't have to be as presentable as you do, but I'll sit there in the crowd and clap.
No, I don't even. I was supposed to get my hair cut. I didn't bother.
Rough.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Rough. It's gonna be rough tomorrow.
I'm thinking I might put some videos up on the A Instagram. Just kind of, just catch some of it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
But
yeah,
I plan on going.
All right. So where are we going?
If you want to meet us down there, you're more than welcome.
All
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll do it. We'll do it up.
We're
what else is there to talk about?
Time here. I just want to mention Jordan.
You want to talk about the Blues?
He was so good, and I feel like he got ripped off.
All right. Jordan Binnington. So did you know that Jordan Binnington is dating Natasha's cousin's? I was like, Lucas was telling me, he's like, yo, I'm gonna meet him in a couple weeks. I'm like, that's cool.
Get him on the pod.
Yeah.
That guy's gross.
Facts.
Oh my god. Just so calm, so good. Like he'd have a bad game and just like it was second nature. He'd show up the next game and it's like,
do I look nervous?
Shut out. Thanks. Get lost. It's so funny. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. The series sucked. The playoffs sucked. I stopped paying attention after round 1. Pretty much it.
Yeah. Yep. Same here. Also, I love drunk Kawhi. Like just in one Kawhi. He's hilarious. Did you see the video of Serge recording him? He's like, "Yo, Kawhi, what it do, baby?" He's like, "What it do, baby?"
I'm here with fun guy.
I was like, "Yes."
What it do, baby?
It's like,
fuck, I love it.
Yeah, baby. I was like, man. Oh fuck! Fred just said, "All right, this is a great." Fred said on Kawhi's free agency. Fuck! I lost the tweet. I backed in and then went out and then it was gone. Fuck. I have it. I just don't want to missay it because it's pretty good. All right. Fred VanVleet on Kawhi's free agency. If he's on another team, we'll just have to kick his ass next year.
Oh. I love his interviews. They're hilarious.
Yeah. Facts. Man, it just seems so
incredible time
right
in
now.
The city. I love it.
Mm-hmm. VanVleet thinks Pascal and Norm will probably live up to crowd tomorrow. What? I don't know. Who's gonna be the most drunk one tomorrow?
That's my.
Yeah, it's probably between Pascal and Norm.
Maybe.
Serge.
I didn't know Kyle Lowry doesn't drink.
Serge
that's kind of cool.
In there. No, he doesn't. No.
Yeah,
I was like,
good for you, pal.
No tattoos, doesn't drink.
All the power to you. I'm out.
That makes one of us. Yeah.
I think.
All right. Is this it? When are we gonna?
I think
when are we gonna come with the slander?
We're gonna try and do better with this whole podcasting thing. Yeah. Oh, that's perfect.
I'm free whenever because I don't have a job right now.
Especially if there's only going to be 2 of us, or if we only pull 2 of us at a time, it's a little easier.
Yeah. And I can record at night since my family will be asleep. I'll just go to the basement and.
So we'll try and get some out to you.
And do that. And it'll be fun. It'll be fun because like it's the off season.
We can just rip on the Blue Jays for about 4 months.
All right. Yeah, like think of like the next guy that's gonna be like good, except gonna be garbage, and we'll think he's So NHL draft and NBA draft are this week. We could. You keep up with the NHL draft, right?
Perfect. So we have enough to talk about.
So I keep up with the NBA draft.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
All right. So what date?
This is a play it by ear thing. This will be in next week. When's the draft?
God. This is. NHL is Friday. Like NBA is Thursday.
Okay. We'll talk.
Yeah.
We might be able to do.
Fuck, we're never doing
Sunday?
Another episode.
I know.
I hate Sundays, but sure.
Friday night.
Friday night. No,
just do one hammered. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll celebrate my birthday.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll have one coming for you soon. How's that?
All right. So, Sonic. Yeah, hopefully. Who knows? All right. Signing off for the A Sports Podcast. See you guys next time. Peace.